I mean, black and white is in
Hi,
terms of the.
thanks for joining us. Welcome. This is the EverSmart City channel. We are in episode 4, and we are looking at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals number 2, which covers zero hunger. Up until about 2015, after decades of steady decline, the number of people who suffered from hunger was slowly declining. And then all of a sudden in 2015, it began to start increasing again. And then with the onslaught of COVID, we're seeing all kinds of things that were taking a downturn for all the SDG goals starting to take a quick upturn. So, what we want to talk to you about today is how EverSmart City is focused in alignment with that goal and how we look at providing nutrition.
Absolutely. So we wanted to get back to kind of the nature of ways of living off the land, and we know that's a little bit hard today, but we wanted to find a way to incorporate that into our communities where we could teach people not only how to grow food, but what food is naturally good for, its different qualities, its benefits, where they could learn hands-on. So our plan is to have a 20,000 square foot, three-story indoor greenhouse, essentially like a warehouse, and we're going to be doing a mix of vertical gardening, hydroponics, aquaponics. Depending on which food, it will have its own different source of how it's going to be grown. Whether it's those three: aquaponics, aeroponics, hydroponics, or vertical gardening. But teaching people how to grow their own food. So we'll have of us in there an opportunity for people to have a grow up for the people who live in the community. They can have their own garden space. Then it will also be growing food for the whole community as a whole, for all the residents and all the stores inside the community, and even have extra food for the outside community for the farmers market. And one of the things that we're going to be doing inside of our greenhouse is going to be implementing some supply chain management using blockchain technology as our supply chain ledger. And some of the things that can we will be able to do is record data and information on the grow of the plants of the food. So you'll be able to say you grab your apple or you grab a banana, and I'll have a QR code on there, and you can scan the QR code, and you'll be able to see basically timeline or timestamps of every day that this plant was grown. You can click a certain day, you can see when that plant was watered, how much light it had, what infrared spectrums of light it was exposed to, what the temperatures were in the room that day. If it's grown with hydroponics, you could be able to see how many particles per million are in the water, and what's the different pH levels of the water. All those different things are going to be implemented in the blockchain, so you can really understand and know what you're going to be eating and know where it's coming from on a supply chain basis. So there's going to be a lot of incentivization programs inside the community, especially with the farmers market and the community garden, where people can um, find ways to earn rewards in terms of NFTs that they can use to redeem for food, meaning they can go back and use their NFTs, or they can stake their NFTs and earn staking rewards, and they can use those to redeem for food in the farmers market, as well as be able to sell their own food that they grow if they live inside the community and they have their own garden space as a resident. They'll be able to provide food for the towards into the farmers market. So another one of the things that we're partnering with is a nonprofit branch called Humanifest, and what they're going to be bringing into alignment with us is part of the education, where we teach people different growing processes of different plants and different growing techniques, whether it be the aeroponics, hydroponics, aquaponics, vertical gardening, and really just showcasing all the different techniques. Like I said, it'll be a three story greenhouse, different layers. First layer will be the farmers market, and then above will be the other spaces of food growing, but essentially to be able to teach people how to get back to the natural way of life of living off the land and being able to eat the same food that was picked and harvested that day, as fresh as can be, as close to the source as possible, with no GMOs or pesticides or any all holistic, all natural food. So I want to see if Sophia, you have anything you want to add to that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's take a step into a little bit of languaging. So our focus is on beyond organic. So it's a type of regenerative agriculture that takes a step forward from the organic chemicals that are used in organic farming. So organic farming uses lots of chemicals, tons of pesticides and whatnot. The thing is that they utilize chemicals that are deemed ingestible by human, or what does it say, qualified for human consumption. So it just means that the FDA has looked at them compared to other chemicals and that they are readily acceptable for human consumption. So what we take a look at is what can we do, what practices can we implement without the use of those type of chemicals that nature provides. Like nature provides um, its own resources and tools to utilize to grow things. So I'm here personally in Costa Rica and studying a lot of their environmental and agricultural things. I mean, you can spit on the ground and something will grow here, right? And same thing with my other home in Seattle. So what we're looking at is though, what is it that they're able to use? Like what has it be that such that they can grow things to a magnified size without the use of GMOs, without the use of pesticides? Like, how is it that they're able to do this? And visiting other beyond organic agricultural systems and farmers that have figured out the system where the vegetables, the fruits, the plants, they grow with so much more nutrients, flavor, in here in the States. If you haven't really left the States, you don't really know what fruit and vegetables taste like because our food is so bland in comparison to when you pick a fresh tomato that's growing out of somebody's garden outside of the US, or if you bite into some lettuce after you crack it open and the milk is coming out. Most people don't even see that in the United States or don't even realize that milk comes out of lettuce. So those are the type of things that we're talking about. In addition to growing the food to sustain a population of over 1,000 residents in our community, we also provide nourishment for 200 local businesses that we have within our development as well, and the surrounding community. In addition to that, we educate, we hold classes, we have community gardens that both the public and the residents can utilize and put and implement the practices that we teach them. So we have all kinds of botanists, scientists, people that will be visiting and visiting our different smart cities and coming online virtually to teach these classes, to provide this education to the public. And then we also are collaborating with companies that provide vertical systems that are so small that you can even grow them inside your house and they make the house smell and look beautiful, as well as you could just grow them on a really tiny apartment balcony. So these are excellent sources of nutrition and food for the family, especially in places that are prone to hurricanes. We're working very closely with companies, with nonprofits and whatnot that provide these for places like Puerto Rico, where when they receive hurricanes, Haiti, they're out of food. Their supply chain is disrupted heavily because we can't get them sources of nutrient of food. So if we have these type of containments, these type of growing vehicles for people in combination with giving them a very safe home to withstand those type of weathers, i.e. our shipping containers, you start to add these solutions together and they really, really start to provide hope and alleviate a lot of the challenges that we're seeing out in the world.
Absolutely. And she mentioned some technologies as well. So some of the things that we're going to be implementing and some of the newer technologies is gray water reclamation and black water recycling. We're going to be implementing a lot of that to save a lot of the water uses, especially since we're here in Phoenix. It's a desert, Phoenix, Arizona. So we really wanted to create a model that could be used globally in terms of self-sustainability, being able to provide water recycling and reclamation, as well as energy, not just natural energy, but also like solar, what's the word I'm thinking of? Green energy, through solar, wind, and water, and implementing those all to create this self-sustaining ecosystem, self-sustaining environment, and pretty much economy where we can grow our own food for our communities, and our communities can kind of bring themselves back to nature, live as close as they can to terms of eating fresh food daily, less processed food, less packaged food, and getting back to a healthier way of human lifestyle in terms of eating.
Yeah, so we just want to close with this and thank you for just listening in. And please participate in the chat, like us below. Mark's going to throw up some links where you guys can share and follow our journey. We're looking to get a lot more attention to our LinkedIn, our corporate LinkedIn page. So please, there's all kinds of rules about, like, we can't do much promotion until we have a certain amount of likes. So please go on to LinkedIn, and Mark will be posting that link shortly. But what I wanted to leave you with are some of the UN statistics that just recently came out coming from the pandemic. So this was a lot different. It was a very hopeful outlook. We were actually winning in almost every single one of the SDG goals prior to the pandemic. So what this is pointing towards is there's going to be about 161 million people that are likely to experience hunger as a direct result. This is additional people than what there already are as a direct result of the pandemic in 2020. If you're American and you're watching this, we had safety nets, we had social systems in place, we had stimulus, we had things like that. We have food banks, we have all kinds of things that people were able to turn to, churches and whatnot. So if you can imagine, the majority of the world does not have those safety nets. So what we're looking at is having this pilot city prove the model such that we can get out there into the global space and be able to bring this solution to all people. So thank you so much. And let's get those links up. There we go. And we'll see you tomorrow.